Hey, so FM is finally out and interesting. We'll get into it. But yeah, I guess it's kind of a weird place right now where the game... I'll put it this way on the FM show, and I'll still get called a shill. Isn't ready. The game isn't ready. Let's put it that way. We can. I mean, let's get into that part. I think one of the things I want to cover in this video, and I did have a whole plan for videos this week, which I'm now not doing for a reason that will become clear. This might well be my last video on the release and, the actual, whether the game itself is good and maybe the meta discussion around the game, because I'll be honest, it attracts a lot of very angry people in the comments, unnecessarily so. I don't mind the constructive discussion. I don't like some of the nasty discussion. So, we're going to nip that one in the bud, and this will probably be the last discussion around that. It's weird. I released a video last week that was it was just a critical video on the game, and I got called, I can't even speak, got called both a shill and a negative Nancy. I don't know, whatever. I forgot what term they used. It wasn't negative Nancy in the same video about 20 times. So yeah, you just can't win as sometimes. But this isn't a pity story, but we have got a pity story sort of discussion today. But yeah, let's have a look at the state of the game. So we're going to look at PC, we're going to look at console, we're going to look at what's been going on Sports Interactive, and then we'll have a quick chat about maybe the channel and the stuff I'm doing on the channel. There's been loads of great support recently, and I do want to highlight thank you for everyone for all that, especially over on the Twitch channel in the lives. They have been fantastic. I did not expect to be pushing towards partner, but it looks like I am. So if you want to come and join on the Twitch chat, by all means come and join. Just don't be abusive, because to be honest, we've had a few plums, but they don't survive so long in the Twitch chat. So yeah, let's get into it. Right, as of recording, I was in the middle of doing that. Football Manager just dropped an update to say that build is now, 25 minutes ago, but I've been recording this for literally 5 minutes after I started recording. It's now on Steam, Epic, and Microsoft. So that they have put that update into the main game. So there we go. You don't need to be on the Steam beta track. The next one is underway. Oh, by the way, Spacebar is coming back as well. So already we're on to the main update, so you don't need to opt into the beta to get that update now. Annoying that it came out in the middle of the video. Maybe I'll put this bit at the start, and then you'll get the context later on as to why I've put this at the start. So the game came out Tuesday, and already on Steam. I don't want to use the word reviewed bombed, because that might unfairly imply that people are purposefully doing it. Now, I do think there are a section of people doing that, but I also think there is a lot of negative sentiment around the game, and there was a lot of, let's say, legitimate criticism of things missing from the game, or the state of the UI, or the state of the bugs, etc. So, I don't want to use the term review bombed, but it has been reviewed negatively. Now, of course, because of the way Steam... Actually, I'm going to say this up front. I'm going to try and not put my opinion in this. I'm going to try and be an objective, not subjective. Some of you, the last few weeks, have noticed misunderstanding the difference between objective and subjective, but objective means that I'm not giving my opinion on it. I am portraying the objective facts about the game. So it's not whether I think something is good or bad. It's about whether it just what the data shows. Okay, so I probably will go into subjective. It's very hard to be completely objective, but just something I noticed. I think I got told 3 times. Someone told me their objective opinion, and I said, you can't have an objective opinion. There's no such thing as an objective opinion. That doesn't exist. So yeah, the game is currently sat on mostly negative. When we recorded the FM show at the weekend, we did a little prediction on what we thought the game would be at. I predicted falsely, wrongly. I was wrong. I predicted mixed. And the other 2 guys predicted negative. But I also didn't anticipate that they wouldn't release a patch on Tuesday to update the game. So I like that sort of play. If they'd have told me they weren't going to update it and patch everything on Tuesday, if there was going to be nothing in the day 1 patch, or the patch that we'll come back to the patch they dropped on Wednesday. If they drop that patch on Wednesday, I think it might sit slightly more towards mixed, but it's kind of hard. So the thresholds are, I think it's like 40 to 60 puts it in the mixed. Anything below 40 puts it in the negative, and anything above 60 puts it sort of in positive. And then it actually varies based on the number of reviews there are. So right now there have been 6,800 in all languages, but only is there 3,094 in English, which is interesting that most of the reviews are not in English. And actually, you can go in and see the language breakdown. It is actually mixed in German. In German, 40% of the users didn't mind it. Turkish, only 17% of users in Turkish. There are 1,000 reviews in Turkish. In Chinese, just 5% are positive, so overwhelmingly negative in simplified Chinese. And we know that in the past, the Chinese diaspora, it's not diaspora, is it? The Chinese population of gamers can be very vocal on Steam reviews and make or break Steam reviews. That is 1,000 reviews. There have been games that have been sat on mostly negative purely because of the Chinese community and something wrong in the game in Chinese. Again, Korean as well, 7%, and then French, 38%. It's very interesting to note the difference between the Chinese and Korean reviews, 7% and 5%. And then the difference to the Turkish one, 17%. And then French, 38 and 40 in German. Like the difference between let's say the European, the Western approach, and this is the English, which is only 24% in English. So French and German seem to be much more accommodating to the game. French is still negative, but that was kind of interesting. And we don't have enough of other languages to get a score just yet. It looks like 250 might be the threshold, which French and German have just gone across. But yeah, certainly interesting that German we get a higher review. So yeah, lots of reviews. One thing I tweeted about the other day, and I found interesting, and I wasn't meant to be a critique, so I ended up deleting the tweet. But I was curious, like people who had put this many hours into the game, like 140 hours, like 160 hours, and I guess people maybe left it open. But it just seemed like a lot of hours to me to put into a game that you don't like. But I mean, fair enough. If people don't like it, they don't like it. So lots of negative reviews. I'd be interested to see where it goes from here. I'd imagine, and this is something I said before. Okay, this is subjective, right? This is the worst FM26 will be. Hopefully, I guess it's not really objective. So hopefully, it improves. I mean, I'm curious to see how many people change their review based on the update that we got. But certainly no day one patch, and this is subjective. I think the no day one patch was a mistake. I don't know if it's because of certification reasons or it wasn't ready or whatever reason they didn't drop that patch on Tuesday, and it's also only gone into a beta branch. It does show that they've been working on these things, and they've alluded to some other things that are coming. But yeah, I mean, it's not looking good from a Steam review perspective, and it's probably going to be very difficult for it to recover from here on Steam reviews. And maybe this is the interesting part. So I've come across to Steam charts to actually look at the player numbers, because I think that's also fairly telling on the game. I have no idea what Bongo Cat or Wallpaper Engine are, by the way. I've heard of Escape from Duckov, which that's a great example of a game that's being like propped up by Chinese players. But as we come down, Football Manager 26 is right here. It's only just come out. It has let's say, hours played, 600,000. So it's only counting since the release. 66,000 is the peak get players, and 65,000 is the current players, which is like pretty significant. That's a lot of players. If we try to find Football Manager, how many people are going back to Football Manager 24 now? I think it's down here somewhere. Yes, we're on 23,000 current players. Obviously, that peaked at 52,000, not total, but in recent memory. We can check the top sellers right now, and you can see Football Manager 2026 is right there. It was number 2, it's now number 3. Only 8 weeks on that chart, so it's selling relatively well. It's sold more than Dispatch. It's sold more than selling more than Europa Universalis 5, which is also brand new. I mean, that's kind of telling, right? It's selling more than Battlefield 6, selling more than EAFC. Okay, these are also on other platforms. Maybe people would play these more on console. We're going to come back to console shortly. But yeah, Football Manager 26. Also, the editor is number 12, which the editor seems to have its in-game editor seems to have its own problems. But yeah, like up here, it's second. Well, I mean, to be honest, we can probably take the Steam Deck off the list because it's not a game. So it's second only to Ark Raiders, which is pretty cheap, £31 for Ark Raiders, getting really positive reviews. I need to check that game out, but I know that's had its own set of issues. Anyway, yeah, so in terms of sales, actually, it's doing really well. And here we go. The Football Manager 26. Actually, if you check the peak today, it's 83,000 players, which I think is about the peak of Football Manager 2024, which was around Christmas time. So much, much later in the year. So certainly in terms of numbers and sales, and obviously I can't account for how many people refunded the game. I would guess it's not as many as people think, particularly looking at those reviews. Not many of those reviews say refunded, but that won't say if they were non-Steam ones. But yeah, I would guess that that's like, the one of the highest ones. I would guess that it's not as many as you'd think, especially if like 66,000 people are still playing right now. So what's this? This is like in the afternoon. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Football Manager goes next, where Football Manager 26 goes next in terms of sales numbers. So subjective opinion time. I don't think it was good that it released on Tuesday without the patch. I think that was a big mistake on their part. It needed that patch. I think there's a lot of stuff they need to fix. I think the state in which it launched was unacceptable. I don't think it should have launched with that many bugs. I think they've pushed it out too early, which I've said before. This is all my opinion on the game. That said, I'm having fun with the game, so read into that what you will. I haven't encountered any major bugs since week 1 of the beta. So I think they've got rid of most major bugs. I say most because I do know some people, especially on things like Macs, and we'll come back to console, are still facing issues. There seems to be some kind of half-time bug that everyone wants to ask me about. As if I know how to fix it. I can't fix your half-time bug. Don't say, how do you fix the half-time bug to me in stream? Because I can't fix your half-time bug. My name is Simon. I do not work for SI. I have no association with SI beyond the fact that I play their video game. So, yeah, that's why my name is Simon Maggio, not SI Maggio. Is someone use that as like a yardstick to accuse me of being a shill with, but I don't think my mum had that in mind when I was born nearly 40 years ago. All right, not that many. I've got a few years left before I hit 40. So yesterday they did finally release a patch. Now the patch notes, subjective opinion time, look pretty good. There is quite a lot in there. Now we know there has been a lot of bug reports for Football Manager. I don't know what it's at now, like something like 12,000. I don't know how many are addressed in this and how many of those are duplicates, so I try not to read too much into those numbers. I know that there is at least 10, for example, that complain about Max Dowman not being in the game, despite that being a licensing issue with him being, or a legal issue with him being not old enough to be included in the game. Max Dowman's not going to be in the game through traditional methods, through official methods, because they legally cannot do it. So this update looks pretty good. There are the adjusting of attribute colors. Technically true. Okay, the new settings. I'm a colorblind person. That was a big issue for me. I can actually show you this if we go into the game. This was a big issue for me. I can change them now, but there is only like 4 presets. So it's 50-50, right? These are the presets. That one, those 2 colors are too close for me. Like the light ones. That one, again, it's the same colors. This one is the one actually. 1 or 2 are probably the ones I'll end up using. These 2 are pretty close, like the yellow and the green. For me, with the Deuteranopia, like I can't instantly recognize them, but at least I can tell the high things from the low things quick enough. I'll probably leave it on this one where the slightly better ones are slightly higher. I don't. Which one did I have it on when I came in? 1 or 2? I don't remember now. But one of those 2, like at least it does a bit of a better job of highlighting out the red ones at the bottom end and the yellow ones. The white ones in the middle. So we'll see. I mean, when I go into the teams now and I look at one of my players, you can see it looks a bit better. If I got someone with a 16 just to show it off, I think one of my goalkeepers does, unless they left. My main goalkeeper should. Let's see if we can get to him. Okay, right. This is, too many clicks. Well, we're clicking all over the place here. Let's go back. Edouard Mendy should have a 16 on something. I bet he doesn't now. Typical, he's got 15s on everything. Do I have a player with a 16? Gomez must have a 16. There you go. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to pick out the 16s, particularly when you get the background behind them. But I can just about make them out. 1, 2, 3. They're the only ones, right? So it's it's better. It's an improvement. There are also other things that came in this patch. You do have to opt into this patch on the Steam. It's only on Steam. It's a beta build of the patch, and I saw a lot of people annoyed about this when they come on Twitter. Like, oh, well, it's still in beta. No, it's a beta for the patch. It's not a beta for the game. Whether the game is ready or not is a different discussion, and I've already given you my thoughts on that. So let's jump in. So let's jump in and look at the other changes they made. I think they're here in audiovisual. So you can turn off these animate menus, animate reports, animate cards, and you can adjust your transition speed as well. So if you're getting laggy UI, go have a play around with these, and you can sort of sort these out as well. There are a couple other useful things that they've added in here as well. You can click on players now. Actually, they introduced that in one of the patches last week. When players are on the pitch, you can click on them. So they've fixed lots of things. There are still things broken. So if we go, let's go to our squad screen. And like, I want to look at my under 18s training. That is my under 18s training schedule. Like you can't, so you can do, this is the individual training for my youth team, right? That's there. I can set individual training. This is the training intensity for my youth team. Okay. I can set that. This is, I have to click on that button again. I should have pressed the back button. You know, we've got mentoring, we've got coach assignments, we've got units, all for the youth team. This is all youth team. This is their schedule. This is not, you can see that is I can't remember what league it is, the Premier League, like reserve league. I don't know who we're playing there. Is it Wimbledon or Shrewsbury? Shrewsbury, I think, and then Gillingham. They're obviously not in the championship. This is obviously not my first team schedule. But if I click on this, and you will see when I click on it, it takes me to my first team schedule. You can see now the matches are Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday in the championship if I scroll slightly. So that bit there is broken. I don't have a way of change. I mean, can I click on them? No, and then it takes me into this. So I don't have a way of changing that right now. I think that is broken. I don't think they've removed it from the game because you have this screen still, and you have this still, and you have this. You have all these other elements still, and it's still showing it. So stuff like that still needs to be fixed, and it should have been fixed for launch and is not. And there is silly things as well. Like if I come here and click transfer activity, that's not a card. So why has it got this little icon? It's popped out, you know, silly stuff like that. Like that is now a full screen. You know, this one, I mean, why is this one a card if it takes up the whole screen? Like stuff like that needs to be fixed. That one's fine. That one's a card. That fits where it should. So stuff like that still needs to be fixed. Subject, this is all subjective to me. You know, yes, it does need to be fixed. I suppose that's objective in some form. But, you know, my opinion on whether it should be fixed is subjective. So that's like with the state of the game. So the patch notes, I would say, covered quite a lot. Like I said, you have to opt in if you're on Steam. You have to right click. So we have them. We also in match have the 1.5 match speed option. So there is all kinds of little quality of life stuff that they have added. Loads of crash fixes, I'm sure. And that's where, you know, where you got that 10,000, 15,000 bug reports. That's sort of being addressed in there. Lots of when I looked at the tiles and cards yesterday in the game, they did look more polished. Everything looked more polished. I couldn't put my finger on what, but I think they have like fixed some of this stuff. I think some of it is still broken. But it looks like they fixed the second half, the halftime. Well, it says they fixed halftime freezing. Let me know if you. I mean, okay. I'm giving you an exception. If you are still facing that bug, let me know in the comments down below. Don't come tell me in live stream because I can't fix it. But I'm just curious if that actually has been fixed and you were in the beta build. So yeah, lots and lots of little fixes here, like manager attire, so I don't have to stay as a pumpkin anymore. Yeah, all kinds of little bits. Now let's hope that these continue to roll out. I hope that we at least get one a week. My bigger hope is, I think we should at minimum get one a week. My bigger hope is that we get 2, maybe 3 a week on the beta branch, maybe 2 or 3 on the beta branch, and then 1 on the public branch. That might be the way to do it, you know, just to get things out sooner. The other thing that I think they need to do here, this is the PC version, is to implement some of those quality of life things that are missing, whether they are bug fixes or whether they are things that are missing. So don't wait for a big update. Get heat maps into the game. Get the pass maps into the game as soon as they are ready. Fix the under 21s training, and you know, maybe a little bit of like the world building stuff that people say they're missing, like a leagues in focus screen. Bring back a leagues in focus screen. I don't think a leagues in focus screen would be too hard. It should just be a case of adding an extra screen on the portal, I guess. Like just add it here. I mean, there's room for, like, this doesn't have a more drop down, or add it here in the news site, right? Leagues in focus, just add it somewhere here rather than having it like, yeah, I don't really want to. If I go continents Europe, like I get the leagues. I thought I could get the leagues, but I can't. But give like a leagues in focus screen, you know, make these customizable. Just little things like that will improve. They have fixed. Well, they've made the league tables a bit better. There's still a whole load of weird data stuff that I'm pretty sure is in the game, but is hidden. And there does seem to still be some weird aligning as well. You can see up here. But hey, there has been some progress on Wednesday. So like I was all prepared actually on Tuesday to get a bit annoyed about the lack of update and the lack of patch. And then they dropped this on Wednesday. I wanted to give it the time because they did say there was one coming on Wednesday. And sort of my reaction depended on what happened in that Wednesday patch. And I think there is enough progress in that Wednesday patch. You might disagree, but again, this is subjective, my opinion. I think there's enough progress in that Wednesday patch that it's promising. Not perfect, promising. You know, for some of you, you absolutely hate the UI. This is never going to fix that. So that's like, no one of these patches is going to fix that. All right, let's get on to the console version, or let's not get onto the console version maybe. So as it loads up and before it lags me out, the console version, as you know, I did a quick look video on the console version back on Tuesday. I tried to do that as the game was released. I encountered issues, and obviously from the comments, a lot of you encountered issues as well. Looking at some of the bugs that I faced and you guys have faced, I think the console version is on a patch 2 or 3 behind where the PC one is. There are some bugs, so I'll give you an example. Bold players having mohawks and hair, too many players with mohawks. That was fixed in the PC version a week ago, is not fixed in the console version, and probably due to certification from the console platform holders and things like that. So my suggestion to anyone who is interested in the console version is to not get the game yet and wait. If you've already got it, well, like wait for a patch. Because I think at the minute, you know, a lot of people, especially on Xbox, were having issues with performance in the matches. A lot of people were having, and this is something I mean, I'm playing it on the console version, but on a PC. Is this loading in my, what save is this loading in? Okay, this is loaded in my regular version. Why is it loaded in that? I was on Xbox. Why is Xbox loaded in the regular game? Is Xbox messed up? I tried to load the console game. I've just realized what happened. And now it's crashed it. I mean, this is definitely the PC version. All right, let's get out of this. Let's try this again and try and load in the console version. Xbox Game Pass does this weird thing now where it will show you your most recent games, even if they weren't played on Xbox, which is kind of good, I suppose. It makes it like a little portal. But at the same time, when Football Manager 26 is on PC Game Pass, along with the Steam version, it means I've got like 5 versions there, you know, with the console version there as well, and 24 there. Okay, let's make sure we open the right one now. 24 is going to disappear, by the way, if you're playing that on Game Pass, you are on borrowed time. Okay, I think we're into the console version now. So the console version is in an unacceptable state. Bug-wise, there are too many bugs in the game still. I don't know when they will fix that. Also, there might be less leagues in the console version. I think someone posted there's only 148. I don't know which leagues are missing from the console version. So if someone could let me know which leagues are missing and maybe why. I don't know why some would be missing from this version. I know you can't load as many leagues, and there is still the 30 season limit and everything. And I guess this is a good point now to talk about the channel and what I'm doing on the channel. So the plan was every time I don't know if we saved one. What do we have? We do have an M. That's like the FM26 save from before. Anyway, the plan for the channel was going to be I was going to put out a couple of console videos this week, but because of the state of the game, I'm going to give it a few days, and then so hopefully this is fixed by next week. When it gets to the quality that the PC build is at now, then next week we'll be able to do a couple of those console videos. So if you're holding out for the console videos, I will get them done as soon as I can. But I just don't think it's in a good state right now. That's my honest subjective assessment, but you know, objectively, it's there are lots of bugs. So yeah, we'll come back to the console version. My suggestion, if you are interested in console version, is just wait unless you've got Game Pass. I mean, if you've got Game Pass, it doesn't matter too much. It's already included. If you've got Apple Arcade, it's already included in that. But Switch, which is touch, and PlayStation 5. Maybe hold off. Mobile, I'm not going to talk about because mobile is Netflix. So you get it free with your Netflix subscription. But mobile is not updated to the new Unity engine anyway, although it does have this new World Cup mode, which maybe maybe I'll give a go. So, yeah, that's where FM26 Console is at. So and I guess that's a good point to go in and chat about the channel and Twitch and everything as a whole. So if you stuck with me this far, thank you. You know, maybe some people will drop off now because they don't care. This is like some meta stuff around the channel, which maybe I already alluded to. But the plan is, okay, so I was going to do a review of FM, and I might still. But the problem I have is everyone has a different opinion on the game, right? And a review I make will be my opinion on the game. And it's not going to agree, it's not going to align with everyone's review, everyone else's view of the game, especially with a very divisive game like FM26. And I know someone down below was saying it's not divisive, everyone hates it. That's like, I still don't think that's true. I still think there are plenty of people. There is scales, right? Like, I don't think anyone is out and out 10 out of 10 game, but I ask a lot of people who come in Twitch chat and are very negative about the game. And then I say, well, what rating do you give it? And they say 6 out of 10. And I say, well, that's exactly the same rating that I've given it so far. You know, it's that 1 star, 2 star current ability, 5 star potential ability, 4 star, 4.5 star, maybe 1 grade out 5 star potential ability. Those of you who don't like the UI will probably never see it that way. So I think like whether I do a review or not might depend on how discussions and response to especially videos like this go over the next week or so. I certainly don't want another week of people hurling abuse my way. Like, that's not what I'd make content for. It's not fun. It's not nice. It's not like, I don't want to, and you know, equally, I don't necessarily want to have to do it back. But I'm only human, and I will do it back if people raise it my way. And if people start calling me stuff and I think they're stupid, I'm going to say that to them as well. I'm human at the end of the day. So I think that's like maybe where the state of the channel is. I don't really want to feed into like any kind of drama stuff. So, you know, again, maybe that's where it's kind of hard, isn't it? Because I do want to talk about this kind of stuff, and I try to be objective sometimes. And, you know, people then take what I say as objective as subjective. So if I say, for example, and this is an estimate, but if I say less than 1% of people do under 21 training, that's not me telling you if you do under 21 training that you don't matter. In my point of view, that's me saying you are a tiny percentage of players, right? You've got to look at this from like 2 points of view, right? It's not me saying I wouldn't make the game for you, or I don't think the game should be made for you, or I don't think it should have that mode. I think it's in there, by the way. But like someone this week was like, oh, someone like you just presses spacebar and doesn't care about heat. Someone called me Mr. Doesn't care about heat maps, when that was literally the first tweet I put out was, I want heat maps back. Like, I can't go on like this where people are just putting words in my mouth which aren't true. So we might take a step back and just go back into more like experiments, guides, stuff like that. If you guys enjoy these opinion pieces, like Monday's piece was received really well, but again, there were a lot of people who just went over their head. If I have to hear someone use gaslighting like inappropriately again, like anyone who uses that now is just like, I'm going to say, if you use that word, maybe you're going to use it ironically now down in the comments, but if you use that word, yeah, you're straight into the, you know, that's it. Like, I don't want to see your comments, because you're just misusing something that's quite a serious psychological abuse, usually associated with domestic violence, on someone who just disagrees with you about a video game. Like, get a grip. So I think we're just like, from now on, we're just not gonna tolerate it. We're gonna move on. Like, rational discussion and nice discussion we can tolerate, but anyone who goes down that route, like, you're gone. Go talk in your little echo chambers that I mentioned on Monday, and then you go, I'm not in an echo chamber, and yeah, you're literally commenting in my comments. And if you watch that video on Monday and you just don't like the game and you manage to avoid every single, like, I think that's the other thing people point out. Oh, I'm not in an echo chamber. I didn't read anything beforehand. I've been playing Championship Manager for 30 years. It's like, well, okay, so you missed 3/4 of the video then, because 3/4 of the video wasn't about echo chambers, about other things that impact your psychology. And the point of the video wasn't about whether you like the game or not. It was more about, you know, what makes you think that way. And I'm glad a lot of people did get that point of view, but it also went over a lot of people's heads. So yeah, well, I think we might be careful about doing that kind of video in future. I guess we're going to come back to we're going to do the console comparison video. We're going to do a couple of guides. We're going to have a couple of experiments over on Twitch. We're going to carry on with the Portsmouth beta. We're into the second season, 2 wins from 2. We turned things around. We were looking like we were going to get sacked season 1 when we didn't have a win in 14 games. We just about broke out of that, and then we went 14 games where I think we only lost 1 game, and we managed to finish 14th in the table right at the end of the season. So I think a good season now, we can get a promotion push. Balotelli has left, Balotelli is gone, so we're going to miss Balotelli, maybe. But we got some new players in, so let's see how it looks. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday should be my streaming days. One of those days is going to probably be the Sunday, is going to turn, or maybe the Monday, is going to turn back into playing a different game. I don't know which one yet, but probably in the next couple of weeks. But for the most part, we're going to be focusing on Football Manager and this is a big thanks to everyone who's come in and supported, particularly on stream. Like, stream has been such a lovely vibe as well for the most part. We've had some fun, and yeah, the stream has been a lovely vibe, particularly in the Twitch chat, but anyone who's joined me on TikTok or YouTube as well, thank you. We're pushing partner on TikTok, on Twitch. But if everyone in those TikTok and YouTube views was on Twitch, we'd have absolutely smashed through the partner. Well, we are smashing through the partner requirements now. We just got to keep it up. It's a momentum thing. So hopefully going into November and December, we can keep that up. We'll see. I'm hoping Football Manager add more updates to the game. They keep developing it. We keep getting a better and better game. I hope, like I said, this is the worst version of FM26 that we get, and it's only up from here. There we go. Let me know what you think. If you've got ideas, if you've got things you'd like me to cover in the game, if there are things you'd like me to make guides on, let me know. Actually, one other thing. Miles did an interview with GQ. Now, this took place before the game came out, so go read that, but bear that in mind while you read it. So a lot of people have been reacting to it as if it's like based on the reaction to the game, but it's of course not. It's before even the beta went out, so read into it what you will. I'm not going to focus on it here because I'd rather focus on the game and not the individuals behind the game necessarily. So yeah, if you're interested in reading about Miles and all kinds of little bits about his lifestyle and what he's go through and whatever, it's over in that GQ article. But yeah, just a thank you for all your support, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you very much. Catch you guys. Hopefully come catch you in stream. I'll put the live streams are on YouTube. Twitch is the place for the chat, but there are bits of chatters here on YouTube and TikTok as well. And I try and address you. I try not to ignore anyone. I try to respond to you all. So thank you. Catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.